November 4, Oscar Sierra, Oscar KO4 OSO, facilitating line boy. I'm singing the 12.
Okay, KN4 OSO. Philip, I should have your call sign memorized by now. Philip from Lineville, I think you said you're participating in 12 Days of Christmas. That's great, and I forgot all about that contest. I'm glad to hear you're in, and I'll circle back and put a call out for you if you're just short time in and out. No worries whatsoever. But should I not speak to you beforehand, I want to say Merry Christmas to you down over there in Lineville. Any other Echolink check-in? Okay, not hearing any. I'm going to go ahead and call for a regular, good old-fashioned RF check-ins. I'm going to let y'all go one right after another. I'm not going to individually acknowledge each check-in. I'll take them in groups, and I'll just interrupt. Come ahead now with your name, call sign, both phonetically and alphabetically, and your location. Slowly, please. Thank you.
This is KQ4AUZ, Cecil and Chatsworth.
W4DRC repeater.
Good evening.
This is K0VD Kilo 0 Victor Delta Greg Doug Gap Road Chat at Dalton, Georgia.
This is KZ4KS Kilo Zulu 4 Kilo Sierra Chuck in Fairmount.
This is KJ4JXB Kilo Juliet 4 Juliet X-Ray Bravo Larry in Cahutta, Georgia.
W4DRC.
This is KQ4RLA Kilo Quebec 4 Romeo Lima Alpha Chris in South Whitfield.
This is KO4 CDA Claude Fort Mountain Kilo Oscar 4 Charlie Delta Alpha.
This is AB4CB Alpha Bravo 4 Charlie Bravo. Good evening, Ed.
This is KM4 WTH Kilo Mike 4 Whiskey Tango Hotel Vernon Southeast Whitfield. Check me in and out, please.
Repeater.
This is Kilo Mike 4 Whiskey Foxtrot Quebec KM4 WFQ Colt downtown Dalton, Georgia.
This is WI4L Whiskey India 4 Lima David in southeast Whitfield County.
Okay, great. Let's take a break right here. Nice group of check-ins. Okay. First up, I had KQ4. Sorry, I don't have hardly enough light. Let me fix that. Okay. KQ4, AUZ Cecil in Chatsworth. K0 Victor Delta Greg. We got KZ4KF Chuck in Fairmont. KJ4JXB Larry. KQ4 RLA Chris. And K04CDA Claude. Alpha Bravo 4 Charlie Beta Annette. KM4WTH Vernon is going to be in and out, and KM4 WFQ Colt. Let me know if I had your call sign right when I unkey here. And then WI4L. Please come down with any corrections or fills or anybody I might have missed or what have you. This is KM4 WFQ. Yes, sir, that is correct. Colt call sign is correct. Colt, I'm sorry, I'm still having a little trouble. Is it KM4 Whiskey Foxtrot Bravo?
Temperature inside at 53 degrees.
It's Kilo Mike 4 Whiskey Foxtrot Quebec. How copy? I got it that time, Cole. Thanks. I appreciate your patience on that. Any other corrections? Okay, let me check one time before we announce the topic of the evening. Do we have anyone else willing, able, and ready to check in to the Dalton Amateur Radio Club's Sunday Night Net? Okay, we'll check again here in a minute. So the topic for tonight is we're looking a little into the future. Maybe that's later this evening or within the next few weeks or months or some undetermined period of time. But I'm curious, with respect to amateur radio, what's next for you? Big wide topic. It could be building an antenna. It could be buying a new antenna, buying a new radio, trying out a new mode, FT8. I think I've got some people that may be close to the edge of jumping into the FT8 ocean. Anything. I want to know what your next big thing is, or little thing for that matter, in ham radio. And I'm also curious about what, if anything, might be on your wish list for upcoming Christmas or Hanukkah or however you may choose to celebrate the holidays. Okay. Sorry, I thought my wife was about to wreck her car. So again, I want to know what your next big thing in ham radio is, and then what your
Outside the temperature 49 degrees.
Sunday Night Net. First up, Philip, let me check with you and see if you're still here. Philip, KN4OSO in Lineville, Alabama. All right, Philip has moved on. Next up, we have Cecil in Chatsworth. Cecil, what's the next big thing for you in amateur radio, and what's on your Christmas list?
W4DRC repeater.
Good evening.
I'm going to be a little bit different than most people, but I'm very well satisfied with the way my radios are working in my antennas. So one of the things that I heard on the net tonight, not on the net, but on the Zoom meeting that we had, was that we're going to plan in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or so, whatever, a trip down to see you, Ed, and go to the pinball arcade and see how that works out. That's one of the things that I think I'd be looking forward to. So a little bit off the usual, but back to you, Ed.
Okay, man, I say come on. And for those of you who may have missed the Sunday night Zoom meeting, which I do want to encourage y'all to jump in. It's a lot of fun. Nothing else is going on. Most people make fun of me because I'm an easy target. But David has become aware of a pinball machine parlor or place. And if you've ever liked flipping the levers on a pinball machine, there's apparently a place in my backyard down here in Hackworth, and a bunch of people are talking about coming down here. And now that my wife's out of the car, maybe I can put her on the spot for maybe cooking something or bringing it. But anyway, that's great, Cecil. Glad to hear it. Hope to have you. Next up is our good friend, Greg, KOVD. Greg, what's on that wish list, and what's next for you in amateur radio?
Well, ironically, my wish list has already been fulfilled. I have just picked up an Electrocraft KPA500 amplifier along with the KAT500 antenna tuner that has been sitting in my shack for the last week waiting on the proper cables to hook it up with my Yaesu FTDX10. So that's my new toy to replace, well, to graduate from my Ameritron 811, which is a great little box I have here as an amplifier. So I'm doing good, quite honestly. Probably the next thing for me is really doing the Ed thing and getting into the FT8. I'd like to try that, and I'm thinking I'm setting up pretty well to do it. Anyways, by the way, Ed, hats off, man, doing it mobile. I haven't seen this happen before, and you're doing a great job. For everybody out there, if I don't talk to you before the holidays, Merry Christmas, and yes, I want to do the pinball thing. So that's my big thing right now. Back to net. Thank you, Ed.
W4DRC.
Well, Greg, I'll tell you what, that's great to hear about your new tuner and amplifier. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I think that sounds like the amplifier and tuner that I should get. And I understand it costs $1 or $2, but but that's okay because I've heard that again, if it's the same one, that may be the last one you ever need to buy. So I'm going to keep an eye on how that works out for you. And we can always turn this weekly net or a portion of it into a swap shop. So if you want to sell off your current amplifier, I'm sure you'll have plenty of interested parties with that. And then also, I also want to recommend, there's a ham fest, usually the first one of the year, up in North Georgia, called the Dalton Amateur, or the Dalton Ham Fest, and I do recommend you checking that out. I've been to it a few times and really enjoyed it. Okay. Thank you very much, Greg. Next up, KZ4KS. Chuck, tell me what's on your list of things to accomplish in ham radio. What's the next big thing, and what's on your gift wish list?
Just moving forward with more antennas. I think the next thing I'm going to build a loop. Larry's kind of got me on a board about getting one of those up, and then moving into maybe a 7300 or something similar. Currently, my HF rig is a IC728 from a long time ago. Works great, but just want to move into some digital stuff with Echolink and things of that nature. So, mostly the basics. KZ4KS.
I'll tell you what, I know a lot of us have the 7300, but including myself. Man, I love that thing. That was the first base station that I bought, and I actually bought it before I had my General, and I got into 10 meters and FT8 on 10 meters, and I was hooked. That was good motivation for me to get my General. I mean, I know you're already past that, but definitely that 7300 makes the digital modes pretty easy once you get it set up. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of people offering free advice if you need any. So that's great. That sounds fantastic. All right, thanks, Chuck. I appreciate you. Let's see. Next up is KJ4JXB Larry in Cohutta. Larry, I'm interested in hearing what's on your wish list of ham radio paraphernalia. But aside from that, what's next for you? What are you going to kick around next in ham radio?
This is KJ4JXB. Well, I done got my wish list. I got a DX710 Yaesu, and I'm getting it set up and sort of enjoying that and hoping to maybe build another little antenna and trying it out. So maybe that's something in the near future. Back to you, Ed, and you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you, Larry, and for all those listening, in full disclosure, Larry was paid to say the compliment. So I do appreciate it. We won't say what he was paid, because then he'll have to come after me and make me pay him something. Anyway, now thanks, Larry. I'm interested to hear what antenna is next on your list of things to build. So maybe at some point you can share that with us. Okay, next up, KQ4RLA. Chris, what is next on your list of ham radio things to do, and what's on your wish list?
W4DRC repeater.
Good evening.
KQ4RLA. Well, my next thing is probably study and get my amateur extra. My wife, she's superseded me on that, but I got to catch up. But anyway, that, and also I got a couple of J-pole antennas I want to build and get them up and test them out. I hadn't really built an antenna. Most all of my antennas are, what experience for me to build one and get it working right. And that's all for me. Back to Ned. Thanks.
Well, Chris, that's a lot, and it because in my mind it sounds like there is an antenna farm going up there in South Whitfield that may not have been on the maps before, but it sounds like you're going to have lots and lots of antennas on your property. So that's awesome, man. That's great to hear. So keep us posted on how that goes. And as far as Amateur Extra goes, you did the right thing. Ladies first. So that's great that you let Annette get that unchallenged in front of you. And I'm cheering for you. I'm looking forward to you knocking that one out. Okay, next up, let's see, we've got KO4CDA Claude at Fort Mountain. Claude, what's next on your list of ham radio things to do, and what's on your wish list?
BL141.3.
We may have lost Claude. Let me try for you one more time. Claude, KO4CDA, you still with us? All right, we'll check back and see if Claude might have rejoined us in a little bit here. Next up, I've got AB4CB Annette. And, again, so I'm asking, what is on, what's next in ham radio for you, but also what's next on your gift wish list. I'll add that on the Zoom call tonight, I saw Annette trying out, I'm going to assume it was a new gift, a relatively new gift, but I'll let her disclose what that is, if and only if she would like to, even though I've kind of put her on the spot and set it up for an awkward situation if she doesn't answer it. But Annette, what's next for you, and what's on your wish list?
This is AB4CB. Now, I have 3 questions to answer. First off, wish list. I would love to have a better amp. I've got one that I like, but a lot of times I try to reach out to people, and there's just so much noise, and I'm just way down deep in it. They can't really hear me, so I would like to have a better amp. As far as what I would like to do, we're pretty well set on equipment other than the amp. I would like to have some more antennas, and I was talking to Larry the other day, and I was telling him that I was going to have Chris make me a 10 meter, and Larry said, well, why don't you do it yourself? And, it just really gave me an opportunity to pause, and I guess a lot of times I really doubt myself because I'm not technically minded, but he said, they got YouTube videos for that. So I think what I would like to do this year for me is just to build a couple of really simple antennas just to give me some confidence, and then I can go from there. And as far as what I was doing tonight, I had one of those MetaQuest headsets, and I was doing some virtual reality. I was fishing, and it was a lot of fun. Ed, appreciate you doing the net, even though you are mobile. And to all of those, if I don't see you or hear from you, I hope you have a very blessed Christmas. Back to Ned.
W4DRC.
I'll tell you what, I found it quite addictive after I built my first antenna and actually spoke to somebody on it. there is just nothing. There's no better adrenaline rush for me in ham radio than building my own antenna. I mean, we're not talking about maybe a QSO with somebody in Mongolia. That's pretty cool too. But as far as building something that doesn't have to be complex at all, and many antennas are not, but they work, and that's just that is a huge sense of accomplishment that I was able to feel early on in that. So I'm fired up for you with that, and I hope that works out. And the amplifier, yeah, I mean, I haven't purchased one yet, but I need to quit messing around, and because contests are tough. Still do it. I still have a good time with 100 watts on some of these HF contests, but I think I'm about ready to get me an amplifier myself. And as far as your MetaQuest goggle fishing, I just hope you can somehow grab a screenshot of some of these fish that you catch, and maybe post it on the ARC Facebook page, because I'd love to see some of the fish you're catching there. But anyway, thank you so much, Annette. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Let's see. Vernon was in and out. And Vernon, if you're still listening and you change your mind, just break in here and let me know. Next up, Colt, KM4WFQ. What's on your wish list, and what do you want to do next in ham radio?
The wind is calm.
This is KM4WFQ. First of all, Annette, your sound is absolutely amazing. So I don't know what you're broadcasting on or what you think you need, but that's probably the best sound I've heard in a long time from a transmission. Second of all, I do want to get into moon balance. So basically, moon balance, I don't know if you've heard of that or how that works, but very intriguing to me. That, and I started building an antenna farm. I have it inverted. I have a couple of different things going on. Also have a tower going on top of the landmark building that I can bounce into. So that should be pretty soon. And then I'm picking up a higher-end ICOM base station for Christmas. KM4WFQ.
W4DRC repeater.
Good evening.
Well, Cole, it sounds like you're the embodiment of go big or go home. I love it. This an antenna farm, an antenna on top of, or a tower on top of a building. Man, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes on. I mean, I'll tell you what, what I like about this crew is all of y'all are just somebody that I can live vicariously through, whether it's picking up a new radio or building a new antenna or whatever. So I love hearing all this involvement. So let me see, Colt. Next up with David. Well, hold on a second, David. Let me circle back here and see if our good friend Claude has gotten where he's still with us. KO4CDA, Claude, are you still on a frequency? Okay, not hearing anything there. Okay, next up, David, WI4L. What's on that Christmas list for you, and whether it's related or not, what's next in ham radio for you to conquer or revisit?
Well, thanks, Ed, for calling Annette, number one, and Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And I've done a lot of things. I enjoy ham radio, as you know, and have for many, many years. And first on that list is going down to Ackworth to the pinball event down there. And maybe we can get a lot of people to go down there and meet up with you and just have a good time, do something that a little bit different than what we normally do with ham radio, of something that we enjoy doing that's not really even related to ham radio. And I think we may draw, I think you're going to, not me, but you're going to draw a big crowd coming down there. That's number one. I guess number two, I've got a breakfast bunch in the plans. I started the breakfast bunch back probably about 20 years ago because I knew everyone couldn't go to lunch bunch. And I said, I asked the president at that time, I said, could we do a breakfast bunch? And his eyes got big and he said, that's a great idea. So that's the other thing on the plan. And there's something I've had on the back burner as far as a fox hunt, and the weather kind of got in that way. But I'm looking forward to doing that coming up in the spring. So for those that think I forgot about it, no, I did not forget about the fox hunt. And I can just go on and on and on, Ed, but hold on just a second. But it's just good to hear all the new people coming on and you know, what they like to do, what they got plans to do. Heard about the moon bounce. I thought about doing that, and I ended up doing satellites, and that's really, really fun. Moon bounce is a little bit more difficult, maybe not so these days as it was back when I was doing it, but I like doing working the satellites. That's a lot of fun. Anyway, as I said, Ed, I could go on and on and on, and I am recording your net tonight because you're doing it all through Echolink. But and that's just neat. That's just neat. You pulled it off. It's all I know. It's the only thing else I got to say. And I'll turn it back to you. Net control, W4DRC.
Okay, man. David, that's a lot. Now, you know, one thing we can do with this pinball thing, we can add like all these little challenges. You know, maybe we can do it like build in a POTA run, so instead of like a poker run, like I know a lot of bikers do, you could do a POTA run. So like on the way down, you could pop in and do a quick activation, and maybe we could score some points, and then the bonus points would be is if we get in there to the pinball place, see if you can pick out a pinball machine and hook up maybe a QRP radio to it, and see if the pinball machine is a decent antenna. I got to think that there's a tuner out there somewhere that could do it. So anyway, just a sideline thing there, but that sounds fun. I hope that comes to pass with all y'all coming down here to play a little pinball. And Colt, you know, I didn't circle back on I was talking about all the antennas and everything, but I didn't circle back on the moon bounce. And I want to tell you that is fascinating to me, and I really, really want to hear how that works out, and what you're doing to make that work, because that's fascinating. But David, thank you for commenting on it, and I appreciate it. And let me pause here and see if there is anybody else lurking out there that we can.
W4DRC.
I'll tell you what, if I don't time this repeater out during one of my nets, then there's something wrong with the world. So is the repeater back on? Somebody could just confirm that real quick.
Temperature inside 54 degrees.
You're good, WI4L.
You see?
All right. I got only one time so far, but the net's not over. So let me pause again and see if we got anybody else who we can talk into checking in with us.
W4DRC repeater.
Good evening.
Okay, so we had a total, including myself, a total of 12 check-ins tonight, and I really appreciate everybody's patience. I was kind of a mess getting on at first. I was trying to flip on my phone between the Echolink app and trying to flip over to a note where I had all the script for the net script. And I learned that at least on an iPhone, if you switch from Echolink to any other app, that it disconnects from whatever repeater you might be dialed into. So that was my learning on the night. And but again, thank you all for your patience. And I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or season's greetings, however you might like to look at it, and a premature Happy New Year. And I hope to hear more from all y'all on the airways. Thanks again for letting me be a part of the group. I really appreciate it. I have a great time with all of y'all. And this is KO4BWN returning the repeater back to regular amateur use, whatever that may be defined as. KO4BWN, I'm clear.
Thanks for calling the net, Ed. 73 WI4L.
Ed, you did a good job being on the road. That was good. KQ4R late.
Appreciate it, Ed. KQ4AUZ 73s to you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And again, I just for the record, since some of this has been recorded, I was not driving. My wife was driving, and but thankfully we're all back home. We're in one piece, and I'll be going in there. I'm back. Y'all may hear me clamming around on the radio over the next few weeks because I'm now officially on vacation. So if somebody wants to go out and do something crazy, let me know. KO4BWN.
I'm glad you clarified that, Ed. That's a good one. WI4L.
And I'll add that anything I said or claimed on the net, just for the sake of it being recorded, may or may not be actually true. So just whatever wiggle room I can give myself on in some kind of legal way, I'm thereby doing that right now.
You're covered. WI4L.
know, when it comes to legal things, you can't just be covered. You got to go Waffle House, which is scattered, smothered, and covered.
Well, the recording is still going, so I just wanted to make sure it was all covered. You know the FCC is going to come after us, especially if we're in southeast Whitfield County or below.
That if anyone lasted this long in his video, that he would sponsor a drawing from and give away something like a used nail or something from his stash at his house. So definitely an opportunity to win something there. KO4BWN, clear.
W4L clear, and the video is ending.